Hey guys, what's up? Toboloco here. Welcome back to the Subscriber World Cup for the month of May. We are already halfway through 2023. Can you actually believe that? We are already halfway through. We've already done 6 Subscriber World Cups this year, or 5 even. And yeah, well, it's just going too far. So you might be wondering why I've selected multiple entries as to follow in this one rather than just doing the one this time round. I decided to follow multiple because a lot of people suggested to me that when I get to the final of the Subscriber World Cup, or if a team gets to a final, then we should basically play the final in real time. And I thought that was a really good idea because it adds a bit more weight to it, if you know what I mean, rather than simulating it. So I decided to do that today and test it. So I've picked some of the bigger teams to follow because, no offense to the people who picked smaller teams, the bigger teams do tend to get further in the competition. But yeah, I mean, if they get knocked out, then they get knocked out, don't they? I mean, there might be a surprise in store. But yeah, and secondly, I just want to add as well that this is a double Subscriber World Cup. So the people who aren't in this one are in the second one, and then the people who get eliminated in the group stage of this one will drop down into the second Subscriber World Cup, much like how in the Champions League, when you get knocked out in the group stage, you get dropped down into the Europa League, kind of like that. So anyway, let me read out all your names then for this first one. So Swaziland represented by Hazel Manyatsi, New Zealand represented by James Allen, Lebanon represented by Wasabi 1982-1, and Northern Ireland represented by Six Peeps. In Group B, we have Finland represented by it's the Russian dude. I can't remember your name, but I'm really sorry. I honestly can't remember your name because it doesn't say it on your profile. South Africa represented by Saki Bless, Wales represented by Rhys van Dijk, Epsy and Devin Marley. That's a triple entry for Wales. Slovakia represented by Potato Cat. Japan is a quadruple entry this time round, represented by William Junkies, Mario Marroquin, Grubby Coach and Cutter Historical. Canada is represented by Ivory Trance. Honduras represented by Andres Planes. Russia was a double entry represented by Sean Lamont Tiger and Madman E. Serbia in Group D was a double entry represented by Velko Savic and Wasteland Wanderer. In Spain, in Group D, was basically a 5-way entry between Patrick Mealy, Ryan Bromhead, Yane Jankowski, Cassian Kokana. Egypt, represented by Abdullah Ashraf. England was a double entry represented by Red Panda Guy and Ryan Brown. Ethiopia was a double entry represented by none other than Liquid Football Edits and Ethiopian Country Ball. Bangladesh represented by Sir Fluffy. Puerto Rico represented by Papaya 8 and Afghanistan represented by Hunter Ellis 17. Portugal represented by Thomas Perez. Denmark was a double entry between Alaya and Hazard Charlton. Costa Rica represented by Yusuf Juma and Burkina Faso represented by Tanya Kernahan. And in Group G, we have Bosnia represented by two people, Erment 22 Beg and Akom 88. North Korea represented by two people as well, Cesar and CHKALL or Chakul, I think. San Marino was represented by Inter Miami 26 and France was represented by Ryubix. And then in the last group we have Germany represented by Copa Mundial 2026. Brazil was a triple entry represented by Lukey Cake, File Name and Owl Striker 24. Scotland represented by Zayed Zayad, and Croatia was a double entry represented by Unpokechuma Random and Matteo Marinic. So you all know who you are for this first edition of this Subscriber World Cup. I hope you guys enjoy the very slightly new format. So first thing, Serbia versus Spain. Let's simulate that one and see what happened in that one. Okay, so I can see at the bottom in Group D, Serbia drew against Spain. You can see it just below the actual flags at the top there. So next we've got Egypt versus England. What will happen in that one? Let's see then, simulate that one. And we can go back to it. And it didn't... Oh, there we go. England won 3-2 in the end against Egypt. So quite a close match in that one. You can see the other results there as well. Japan beating Canada and Honduras losing against Russia. So hopefully more people will be included with the simulation aspect of it. We got a big one here now. San Marino versus France. Let's see if San Marino can pull up a shocker in this one. I hope they can. Oh, they scored against France. That's not too bad, to be fair. Also, Bosnia beating North Korea 4-1 and Costa Rica beating Burkina Faso 1-0. Next match day is Germany versus Brazil. Repeat of the demolition, maybe? We don't know yet. Let's have a look and see. And it skips ahead, and it was only a 2-1 that time to Brazil. Brazil got revenge against Germany, and Swaziland beat Lebanon 1-0, and Scotland beat Croatia 2-0. We advance some more days here. Got some more results there if you want. Japan beat Honduras 2-0, Serbia beat Egypt 1-0, and Russia beat Canada 2-1. Next one, Spain versus England. Let's see if who wins. It's a hard one to call, to be honest, because both of these teams are pretty good. Let's go back and have a look. Spain lost 2-0 against England. Ethiopia beat Puerto Rico 4-0, and Afghanistan got a slender lead against Bangladesh to finish that one off 1-0. Now we enter the other one, Croatia versus Brazil. Let's just simulate that one and have a look. Croatia beat Brazil 2-1, so that's not too bad, to be honest. We got Scotland versus Germany, which hasn't happened. We got France versus North Korea now. Let's see what happens between those two. France beat North Korea 4-1, and now we have Germany versus Scotland. Let's see. Scotland are in first place. I just had a look at that. Germany are fourth and Scotland are first. That's crazy. Let's go back and have a look. So it was a 1-1 between Scotland and Germany. That is pretty surprising. Now we're into the final stages of the group stages. And we have England versus Serbia. Let's have a look and see what happens in that one. So England beat Serbia 4-1, Russia beat Japan 3-0, and Canada beat Honduras 2-1. Now we have Spain versus Egypt. Let's simulate that one. And we can see that Spain beat Egypt 3-0 in the end. So very comprehensive result for Spain. So now France have got Bosnia in their last game of the group stage. We're nearly at the knockouts. I know it's a bit long and drawn out, but I hope it's more involved for everybody else, if you know what I mean. I hope so. I really hope so. Bosnia versus France. Let's just simulate it and have a look. Bosnia lost 4-1 against France, and North Korea beat San Marino 2-0. We have Croatia versus Germany. Croatia desperately need to win that game to go through. Did they? Let's have a look. They did. They got a 1-0 over Germany. Germany had a horrible campaign in that group. And now we have Brazil versus Scotland, and Brazil are sat in third place. We can have two big boys going out if Scotland can pull this one off. Let's have a look. Okay, so Germany have been eliminated from the World Cup. We've seen that. I don't think that Brazil lost. No, they won 2-1 in the end. So, yeah, let's go and check out the standings and everything like that. Alright then, so these are your groups for the first Subscriber World Cup. You might have had an idea what was going on with the simulation and that, but these are the final groups. We have Northern Ireland and Lebanon going through. Lebanon going through on goal difference. That is a crazy group in Group A. In Group B, we have Slovakia and Finland going through. South Africa, again, missing out on goal difference. Russia and Japan going through in Group C. Canada missing out, and Honduras as well. Group D, on the final day, Serbia missing out by goal difference, and England and Spain go through. Spain didn't have a great one, so don't know what's going to happen with Spain. In Group E, Ethiopia had a really good campaign, and Afghanistan as well, picking up 5 points in Group E. And in Group F, we have Portugal and Denmark going through. Costa Rica and Burkina Faso are out. France in Group G having a wonderful campaign with 9 points. Bosnia going through as well, and North Korea going out. And in Group H, we have our first big casualty with Germany going out with only a measly 1 point. And surprisingly, Croatia going through alongside with Brazil. So it sets up a round of 16 situation with Northern Ireland versus Finland, Russia versus Spain, Slovakia versus Lebanon, England versus Japan, Ethiopia versus Denmark, France versus Croatia, Portugal versus Afghanistan, and Brazil versus Bosnia. So I'm hoping at least one of the bigger teams goes deep enough so I can find out who's in the final, and then we can watch the final in real time. What I might do though is highlight it so that when a team scores a goal, I show it, you know, not just like the whole match. Alright then, so our first match of the round of 16 is Russia versus Spain. Will Russia cause a little bit of an upset, just like they did in 2018? And we also got Northern Ireland versus Finland at the bottom there as well. Let's have a look and simulate that one. What happened? I think, yep, Spain won 2-0 and Northern Ireland beat Finland 2-1. So Spain will go on to play Northern Ireland in the quarterfinals. We have England versus Japan next. Again, another chance at an upset for Japan. Let's have a look. We also have Slovakia versus Lebanon at the bottom as well. Simulate that game. And that was a 3-0 to England and 2-0 Slovakia versus Lebanon. Okay, so it'll be England versus Slovakia in the quarterfinals. We have France versus Croatia in our next simulation. And we also have Ethiopia versus Denmark at the bottom as well. Let's have a look and see what happens between France and Croatia. Simulate that one. And I'm guessing France have gone through because I didn't get a message yet. France beat Croatia 2-0. And Denmark just narrowly beat Ethiopia 2-1 in that one. So it'll be France versus Denmark in the quarterfinals. And then we have Brazil versus Bosnia and Portugal versus Afghanistan. Let's have a look and see who wins those games. So Brazil have gone through with assumingly a penalty shootout win, and Portugal thrashed Afghanistan 4-1. So yeah, unlucky Bosnia and unlucky Afghanistan. It will be Brazil versus Portugal in the quarterfinals. Now we have France versus Denmark. Let's see who wins between these two. And we have Northern Ireland versus Spain coming up as well. So simulate that one. Come on, simulate. Denmark beat France 2-1. You can see it at the bottom there. That's another big team eliminated in the quarterfinals now. France have gone. So I'm only left with 3 bigger teams now. We have Northern Ireland versus Spain. Let's see what can happen in this one. Will Northern Ireland be able to pull off another shock? Let's have a look. So, it was Spain winning 1-0 in the end. So, yeah, congrats to Spain. They've reached the semi-finals. We have Portugal versus Brazil and Slovakia versus England in matchup 4 of the quarterfinals. Let's have a look and see who wins between Portugal and Brazil. Brazil beat Portugal 2-1. And next we have Slovakia versus England. Could there be another shock result? Let's have a look. England and France have been eliminated from the World Cup. So Slovakia have got into the semi-finals. And, wow. I mean, this World Cup is full of surprises. So it's Spain versus Denmark and Slovakia versus Brazil. So one of these teams is guaranteed to get into the final. I knew that. I mean, it was pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious. Unless we had a massive surprise and it simulated all the way to the end. So, yeah, in this situation, we'll be able to watch the final. Let me know what you think about this new format or not. Whether or not it's too time-consuming or whatever. But, yeah, let's have a look. Spain versus Denmark. Let's go. Let's see who wins this one. Come on. Who won? Spain beat Denmark 5-1, so Spain have reached the final, and we have Slovakia versus Brazil. Who's going to win between those two? It's going to be Brazil, of course, and the third place playoff will be Slovakia versus Denmark. So we'll just simulate up to the final, and then we'll watch it in real time. So just simulate up to the final. Come on. Right, it's simulated Slovakia and Denmark. Denmark beat Slovakia 1-0. So let's just go back to the tournament tree. There is your almost finished tournament tree. We have Spain versus Brazil in the final. But before we watch that game, we have an announcement with the third place playoff winner being Denmark. Those two were Alea and Hazard Charlton coming third place. Congratulations to you guys for coming third in the Subscriber World Cup. Slovakia came fourth, and that was Potato Cat. So congratulations for making the top 4 as well. Let's watch the match. So I just want to let you guys know before we watch this final, or if I highlight it or whatever, that I haven't done anything with the squads. I haven't changed the formations. I haven't done anything like that. It's basically just going in how they are set up. I'm also not controlling anything or anything like that. I'm literally here just to commentate over it and skip the menus and the cutscenes and stuff like that. Here we are then for our first Subscriber World Cup final in live fashion or highlighted fashion, depending on how many highlight moments there are. So I'm not sure if this is a good idea or not, but you can let me know in the comments whether it is or isn't, or we can go back to simulation form. It doesn't really matter, but I figured I'd try it this time round. And we have our first final here, Brazil versus Spain. Let me just remind you who is representing each nation. Spain is represented by Patrick Mealy, Ryan Bromhead, Yane Jankowski and Cassian Krukana. Brazil is represented by Lukey Cake, file name, and Owl Striker 24. Yeah, last time I did this, which was actually last year, like pretty much a year ago that I did this, with the whole Subscriber World Cup, I figured, you know, it would be a good idea, but it didn't turn out to be that many highlight moments. But I'm hoping the computer will actually give us a good game. And it seems like Spain are pressing. Look at this football here. They could score. They have. They've scored. The weakest goal in the world, and Negredo has scored in the final. And Spain have taken the lead. What was that defending by Brazil? What was that defending? The shot was the weakest shot in the world, and this defending was absolutely terrible by Brazil. Unbelievable. And, well, yes, Spain have taken the lead. Through ball, and here comes Pedro. Are Brazil going to defend? Are they actually going to defend this? Here comes Iniesta. Back to Negredo. He scored again. He scored again. That's 2-0 to Spain. And Spain could be on to a massive thrashing. Brazil maybe are going to replicate their performance against Germany. Here comes Spain. Negredo. Could he get a hat-trick in the World Cup final? Busquets. Oh, he's put it wide. Unbelievable miss. Brazil only have 45 minutes to turn this thing around. It's 2-0 currently to Spain as we go into half-time. Iniesta to Negredo. Through ball. Iniesta's going through. Can he do it? He's done it. He's surely done it. Spain have outclassed Brazil in the final. Outclassed them. It's 3-0. What a final this is. Spain are just playing way better. What's wrong with Brazil? What is wrong with Brazil? And that was such a nice strike by Iniesta. Got shades of the 2010 one that he did. But obviously, you know, the situation is kind of different with Spain being 3-0 up. But yeah, incredible performance by Spain. I think Spain have basically got one hand on that trophy. Nothing from Brazil, really. So surprising. Luis Gustavo. He goes for the shot and he scores. Maybe a consolation or maybe the start of a comeback. Luis Gustavo has scored and this final has been insane. Here comes Brazil. Oscar. Here comes Hulk. He is kind of open a little bit on that wing play. And Brazil has scored. And it's Fred. It's Fred who has scored for Brazil. Arguably Brazil's worst striker has just put them now within touching distance of coming back into this final. It's 3-2. Trying to turn past Dani Alves. Xavi Alonso. Admittedly, there's not a lot of tackling going on in this match. It feels like most of the time the AI will just wait until the team gets close to the box and then make the tackle. But here come Brazil. Paulinho, through ball to Oscar. He's going through. Into the box. Oh, Neymar just cut out. Cut out by fantastic defending. I don't know who it was that cut him out. But wow, what a tackle. What a challenge. That will definitely be talked about as the saving factor of the final. Over the top though, here comes Neymar. Neymar, oh my days. Oh my days. That is unreal. That save there. The ball into the box was incredible. Brazil have only got 2 minutes left. We've only got literal seconds left on the clock. It's headed. It's hit the post. Oh, unbelievable final. This might be it for Brazil. Yes, it is. Spain are your subscriber World Cup champions against Brazil. Spain have won it. And, you know, that was such a good final, man. That was such a good final. Yeah, that deserves a handshake from both coaches there. And so, your subscriber World Cup winners are Spain, and the people that represented them are Patrick Mealy, Ryan Bromhead, Yane Jankowski, and Cassian Krakana. Brazil came second, who were represented by Lukey Cake, Filename, and Owl Striker 24. Commiserations to you three, but congratulations to the 4 people representing Spain. What a final. I really want to do that again, and we can do it again because we have the second chance Subscriber World Cup coming up right now. Here we are then, guys, for the second chance Subscriber World Cup. So I'm just going to read out the people that missed out and are here, if you know what I mean. The people who dropped down into the second one, you already know who you guys are, and you are in these groups somewhere. So yeah, let's have a look and see the 16 people that missed out last time. So Albania, represented by that one gamer 25, Slovenia, represented by David Ianitza, Saudi Arabia represented by oh yeah Mr. Krabs, Panama represented by Just S, Guatemala represented by Conrad, Greece represented by Big J, Mexico represented by Sergio Velez, Sri Lanka represented by Stickman Plays, Algeria represented by Mohamed Lays, Australia represented by Center Studios, DR Congo represented by Rhodes Smith, Dominica represented by Andrew Fairweather, Nigeria represented by Andy Edits, USA represented by Brian Jimenez, Moldova represented by Moldovan Country Ball, and Zimbabwe represented by Matsum. So I didn't really know who was actually going to win this tournament. I mean, Germany was a given, but I just randomly selected a load of nations and I'm going to hope for the best. I hope that one of them gets to the final and we can watch it. Here we go then. Your second chance Subscriber World Cup for the people that missed out and also for the people that got eliminated in the group stage. Alright then, so we have a lot of matches to simulate in this group stage, so I'm literally just going to plow on through it. Literally just going to get on through it, and yeah, like I said, you all know who you are and stuff like that. So our first match is Costa Rica versus Saudi Arabia. Let's simulate that one, and that was a 1-1 draw for the opening group stage matches. Okay, so next we have Bangladesh versus Australia. What's going to happen in that match? It skips ahead to the next day, but we have Bangladesh beating Australia 1-0, and in the other results we have Greece drawing against Burkina Faso and Dominica and Puerto Rico drawing as well. So a lot of draws, but Bangladesh have the shock results so far. Here we go then. Albania versus USA, and we have a load of matches at the bottom there as well. Let's see who wins that one. And Albania and USA drew 1-1. Algeria beat Scotland 2-0, and we also have Panama versus Germany right now. Let's simulate that one. And Germany beat Panama 3-0. Here we go for the next one. Canada versus Wales on the same day, and we'll have to just go back and have a look. Canada and Wales finished 1-1. Okay, so we have Serbia versus Swaziland on this match day. Let's see who wins that one. And it was Serbia with a 3-0, North Korea beating Zimbabwe 4-1, and Slovenia beating New Zealand 3-0. We have DR Congo versus Nigeria, and then we also have some matches at the bottom as well. Let's have a look and see who wins between these two. It was Nigeria 3-1 over DR Congo. Mexico versus Egypt, simulate that one, and that was a 3-0 to Mexico. Honduras versus South Africa next. Let's have a look and see who wins that one. It was a 1-1. Okay, Costa Rica now versus Greece in the second round of matches in the group stages. Let's have a look and see who wins that one. It was 2-1 between Costa Rica and Greece. San Marino drew against Guatemala, and Moldova beat Sri Lanka 4-0. We have Puerto Rico versus Australia next. Let's simulate that one. And that was a 1-0 to Australia. Burkina Faso beating Saudi Arabia 3-1. And Bangladesh beating Dominica 2-1. So Bangladesh are already through. Somehow we have Wales versus United States. Simulate this one, and that is a 1-0 to the United States. Albania and Canada drew, and Scotland beat Panama 1-0. We have Germany versus Algeria next. Could there be a shock in that one? It was a 2-0 to Germany, and North Korea beat Swaziland 3-0. We have Serbia versus Zimbabwe next. Simulate that one, and that was a 2-0 to Serbia. Slovenia versus Mexico next. Let's have a look and see who wins that one. Scroll over. Slovenia beat Mexico 2-1. We have Egypt beating New Zealand 3-0 and DR Congo beating Honduras 2-1. We have next South Africa versus Nigeria. Simulate that one, and that is a 2-1 to South Africa, 2-0 to Sri Lanka over Guatemala, and San Marino lost against Moldova 2-0. We have Australia versus Dominica now. Simulate that one, and that is a 4-0 to Australia over Dominica. Puerto Rico beat Bangladesh 3-2, and Greece beat Saudi Arabia 3-0. Let's just simulate Costa Rica versus Burkina Faso. That was a 1-1 draw. Germany versus Scotland next. Should be a win for Germany, right? Yep, Germany won 2-0. Panama beat Algeria 2-1. And we also have Wales versus Albania. Simulate that one. And that was a 2-1 to Wales. USA versus Canada. Bit of a derby match there. Let's see who wins that one. It was a 4-1 to United States. We're nearly at the end of the group stage. New Zealand versus Mexico. Simulate that one, and that was a 2-1 to New Zealand. Slovenia beat Egypt 2-0, and Zimbabwe beat Swaziland 4-0. We have Serbia versus North Korea. Simulate that one, and that is a 2-0 to Serbia. And on the final day of the group stages, we have South Africa versus DR Congo. Simulate that one. That was a 0-0. Also 0-0 between Sri Lanka and San Marino. Moldova beat Guatemala 2-1. The final game is Nigeria versus Honduras, and that was a 3-0 to Nigeria. Alright then, so after that long-winded sort of simulation, I guess, let's have a look at the group stages. Burkina Faso and Costa Rica go through in Group A. Greece and Saudi Arabia missing out. Group B, Australia and Bangladesh going through in that one. In Group C, we have United States and Wales going through. In Group D, we have Germany and Algeria going through. Panama and Scotland missing out on goal difference. Group E, we have Serbia and North Korea going through. Group F, Slovenia and Mexico. Group G, Nigeria and South Africa. And in Group H, we have Moldova and Sri Lanka going through. In the round of 16, like this: Burkina Faso versus Bangladesh, USA versus Algeria, Australia versus Costa Rica, Germany versus Wales, Serbia versus Mexico, Nigeria versus Sri Lanka, Slovenia versus North Korea, and Moldova versus South Africa. Alright then, first matchups in the round of 16. Let's simulate it. USA versus Algeria. Let's have a look and see what happened on that match day. It was a 3-0 to United States, and Burkina Faso beat Bangladesh 2-0. On to the next round of 16 game. Costa Rica versus Australia and Germany versus Wales. So simulate Costa Rica and Australia. That was Australia 2, Costa Rica 1. And now Germany versus Wales. Is there a shock on the cards there? It was a 1-0 to Germany. Now we have Serbia versus Mexico and Nigeria versus Sri Lanka. Simulate that one. And that was a 2-1 to Mexico. Nigeria versus Sri Lanka next. Simulate that one. And that was a 5-0 to Nigeria. Next one, the final one of the round of 16, we have Moldova versus South Africa and Slovenia versus North Korea. Simulate that one. And, well, I can't see it, but those are the three teams eliminated. Costa Rica, Serbia, and Wales, and a couple of others as well. Slovenia beat North Korea 5-0. South Africa won 2-1 over Moldova. So the quarterfinals then, we have Mexico versus Nigeria for this quarterfinal match. Let's see who wins this one. It was a 1-0 to Mexico, and now we have USA versus Burkina Faso. Who will win that one? It was a 1-1. I can't actually see who won that game, so I'll have a look in the future sort of thing to have a look and see where they are. We have the next quarterfinal matchup, Slovenia versus South Africa and Australia versus Germany. So, again, Slovenia and South Africa drew, so I don't know who went through. Australia versus Germany, let's have a look. So, Australia and Nigeria have been eliminated from the World Cup. We're in the semi-finals then. We have USA versus Mexico and Germany versus South Africa. Okay, so a bit of a derby match in the semi-finals for USA and Mexico. Let's see who wins that one. That is a 2-1 to United States. United States have made it to the final. Germany versus South Africa next. Will there be a shock for Germany in terms of South Africa winning that match? No. Okay, so the third place playoff is Mexico versus South Africa. Let's simulate that one and see where we're at with the whole thing. So, Mexico won third place against South Africa. It was a 1-0. So Mexico was represented by Sergio Velez. So congratulations to you for winning third place in the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup. South Africa was represented by, I believe it was a drop down from the first one. It was Saki Bless. So congratulations, you got top 4 in the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup. But your final for the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup is the United States versus Germany. Here we are then, the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup final between the United States and Germany. United States was represented by, let's just have a look quickly, Brian Jimenez. So it's Brian Jimenez versus, I believe it's a couple of people. Oh no, just one person. Copa Mundial 2026. Through ball, and here comes Marco Reus. He's not offside. He scored. And the defence was split apart there. And Marco Reus has scored for Germany in this final. And he does no celebration because, you know, he knows that it is slightly weaker opposition. And Germany are taking the lead in this final. How will the United States respond in this match? They still got time, still got energy, and they can still stun Germany. Over the top, Donovan into the box. He goes for the volley. Oh, that would have been a spectacular goal. Half-time in the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup final. It's 1-0 to Germany. Over the top by the United States, but cut out there. They're going to have to keep the ball on the floor, really, to stop those tall centre-backs from Germany from headering the ball away. Here comes Closer. And he's cut out nicely there, but Closer goes for it, and it snuck his way in. It snuck his way in. Closer found a way to score from that situation, and that's 2-0 to the Germans. The United States only have just over 15 minutes to try and turn this thing around, but from their play and everything like that, they've only really had one attempt on goal. Goetze whips the ball in. Goes out to Gundogan, and that's going to be it. That is going to be it for the final. Once Howard boots this one away, it's going to be game over for the United States. And our champions in the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup will be Germany. Germany have won it. Copa del Mundial 2026. He is your champion for the Second Chance Subscriber World Cup. So congratulations to you, Copa del Mundial 2026. And commiserations to Brian Jimenez, who finished in second place with the United States. But pushing United States to the final is an incredible achievement. So those were your Subscriber World Cups for the month of May. I know it's been quite a long episode and it might be a bit tedious or a bit boring, but I really wanted to do this and just see if it worked and try and make it a bit more inclusive for everybody rather than just simulating it once and then going all the way to the end. Let me know what you think. But this has been Toboloco. If you did enjoy this one, then give it a like and subscribe. Get your entries in for the month of June, and I'll see you again for the next video.